Hello everybody, this is Josh Willis. I see you found our website at joshwillisministry.org. I just want to talk to you a little bit about the facility and where we're at. And we're going to be having classes, special meetings. We're hoping revival breaks out. We're just praying to God that good stuff happens here. I want to tell you a little bit of how we got here. And we're calling this place, this facility, the Depot. And the reason is because it's kind of a military term. It's where you keep supplies, resources. It's where you train and set people in the positions. And so we're believing God that that's what we'll be able to do here. And the way that we got here, of course, you that don't know my testimony. You know, I became a Christian in 1975 at 28 years old after a history of drugs and alcohol, just enormous drug problems and mental problems. And on third Saturday in November 1975, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, lightning struck. God came, a personal witness, and shared Christ with me. That's why I believe in teaching everybody how to share their faith, because you never know who's behind the door. And I'm sure he didn't that day. But after my conversion, I did what everybody did. I went to church. I taught Sunday school. I worked on the bus ministry. I tried to do everything I could to serve, was reconciled with my family, my kids, and all that. And after 3 years of being in various churches and trying to find my way through the faith, we started a church out of a home Bible study on Easter Day, 1979, called Grace Chapel of Praise. And for 40 years, I pastored that church here in the city of Hamilton. And along with that, about 3 years later, I believe it was, in June of 1982, because of who was coming to the church and the way that it was working out, a lot of people were hearing my testimony, hearing my story, being converted, becoming Christians, but they were going back into environments where they couldn't stand. Bad living conditions, living with a girl or a man and just couldn't get out of it. So they would get saved, but they couldn't maintain the relationship. So I bought a 7-family apartment house, moved the people out, started moving people out of the addiction world in, started putting teachers and what we call cottage pastors in there. And we did that up until 2016, 34 years. And so we had a facility called the Samaritan Ministry Center. It was in Hamilton, Ohio. The former Roosevelt School, 120,000 square feet. We had a lot of things in there. I won't labor that point, but we were there 25 years, and that ended in January of 19. And so from that point, we came here, and you'll be seeing a kind of a montage or a time-lapse film that we're putting together on that shows it was an old bus depot for the Board of Education in Hamilton. And 6 barracks type looking places, metal buildings that we've converted to this part, about a 14,000 square foot ministry center, in which this facility that I'm in, which is the studio, and this is where the stuff will be broadcast from, it has now been finished. We're in here working, we're putting things together. But the depot itself, to bring you up to snuff on that, is after all this time in ministry and all these years around the drug culture and all these years, I heard a famous preacher once say that you learn the sword, in reference to the Bible, from 20 to 40. You master the sword from 40 to 60. You pass the sword from 60 to 80. Well, I'm 73, and I'm in the passing mode. If you're interested in finding your place in the Lord, I'm going to start off doing 2 main classes here at the depot. And the times will be announced. It'll go to our website, like I said earlier, joshwillisministries.org. And you can find, and you can be put on the Keep Informed list, or you can become a volunteer. But the 2 classes are going to be, one's called Knowing the Time, because I think so many people want to know what the world is coming to. And I think I can help with that. I can help you understand the time and time and urgency run together, so it helps us to connect with what we need to be doing, not later, but now. If you're called to preach, you still prepare. You don't take running off to a mountain and get scared about what time it is. So you have to be trained. And I'd like to help with that. I'd like to help passing what I've learned about compassion, brokenheartedness, the burden, learning things that just come supernaturally to prepare you for ministry. It's not just about information. Information's good. I was at the Cincinnati Zoo one time. I saw a plaque where they had the bees, and they gave this guy a plaque. He studied honeybees for 50 years, but he obviously was not a bee. And so there are theologians that study God. Theo is God. They're God studiers, and they don't really know him like I'm talking about. So if you want to get to know him, if you want to understand that, then go on the site and enroll. Also, if you know somebody that's messed up on drugs or somebody that they're struggling, they're really genuine. I've had thousands of guys at the program that I had for 34 years. It was a long-term residential program, a discipleship center, faith-based. And I was able to help them understand that sobriety is not the goal. That's the beginning. You know, a baby doesn't sit inside the womb and think, if I could just get out of the birth canal. You got a whole life to live after you get born again. And I can help you with that. Not because I'm nothing, but because the information has been imparted to me. And if you're interested, then go on the site, check out the site, look at some of the stuff we're going to be putting there. There'll be a lot of videos in that. And I hope you'll stop and see us or come by and see us. It's at 1315 Chestnut Street in Hamilton, Ohio. The ministry number is 513-896-5354. It can happen to you.